Elections are approaching across the state, but going to a polling location to vote does not promote social distancing. Many lawmakers on Beacon Hill submitted bills to make elections safer for voters by developing alternative methods. One example is the 2020 Vote by Mail Act, filed by Senator Becca Rausch, who represents part of Needham, and Representative Adrian Madaro of Boston. Senator Rausch testified on Thursday, May 14th, about the act in front of the Massachusetts Joint Committee on Election Laws. There is no timeline set for a vote, but it might be possible an alteration to the voting process could be in place for the state primary on September 1st. Here's more on the 2020 Vote by Mail Act.
My 2020 Vote by Mail Act provides 5 solutions for our democracy as we head into one of the most crucial election cycles in our nation's history. Those 5 solutions are automatic delivery of ballots, in-person polling place protections, a funding structure, technology upgrades, and making November's Election Day a holiday. The real central component of my 2020 Vote by Mail Act, and the piece that really sets apart the various different legislation filings that we've seen so far, is how to get the ballots to the voters. And the proposal that I am championing with the 2020 Vote by Mail Act is automatic delivery. That means voters do not have to submit a request or an application for a ballot. You just automatically get your ballot in hand sent to the address on file with the Central Registry of Voters. That's true for every single registered voter in the November general election and every party affiliated voter in the primary. Unenrolled voters in Massachusetts have the option of participating in whichever primary they would like, whichever party's primary. That's known as open primaries. I'd add most other states in the nation have closed primaries. So if you want to vote in a party's primary, you must be registered with that party. But in Massachusetts, if you are an unenrolled voter, you can choose. So for unenrolled voters, they would have 2 options for the primary. The first is to change your party registration for purposes of that September 1st primary election. It's pretty easy to do that. Relatively easy to do that with the existing systems we have, and then change back to unenrolled afterward. Probably party unaffiliated voters already know which ballot they're going to pull, even if they don't know which candidate will ultimately receive their vote. So you can change party registration, or the legislation directs the Secretary of the Commonwealth to create an online web portal where unenrolled voters could request their party primary ballot of choice. This state, fortunately, already has at its disposal approximately $41 million of federal funds that are supposed to be used for election modernization and reform. We've had those funds around for quite a while, so those funds can be used with the various restrictions set forth by the federal government as federal funding. And then the bill also creates a state supplemental fund that would need to be appropriated through a budget process, but the structure of the fund is created in the 2020 Vote by Mail Act. Central to my thinking when just envisioning this bill, when crafting this bill, filing this bill, and continuing to advocate this bill for this bill are the people, the voters, the town clerks and poll workers who dedicate their time and talents to making our elections happen. The single parents who are going through a real rough time right now, and who are likely to struggle to get to in-person polling locations. Our seniors who are going to have difficulty because of the health risks with being a senior and in the age of the coronavirus. Our people need and deserve automatic vote by mail to the greatest extent we can possibly effectuate it in Massachusetts. And that's exactly what the 2020 Vote by Mail Act will deliver. So I'm hoping for that automatic ballot issuance to our voters, get the ballots to the voters to the greatest extent we possibly can do, without adding unnecessary red tape, without adding unnecessary bureaucracy, without adding significantly unnecessary cost. We know it will be expensive, but sending the ballots is the most direct, most enfranchising, most supportive, and most cost-effective way of doing this.